I feel like that's wrong.
I'm thirsty.
I think
He can't
everybody
like.
will
He
probably
can't like. I don't care if it's a picture of the dog on the page. Nobody better like.
Like, I feel like you should look at it like, I deserve this. Yes, this is my money.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Melanated Opinion. I am Takara.
It's your girl Melissa.
What up, peoples? I'm Crystal.
I'm Shanita.
And we have an interesting topic this week. We are going to talk about interviewing. So the interviewing process, what you should say, maybe some things that you should stay away from saying, some recommendations on what to put on your resume. So we'll cover a bunch of different things. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So basically, I would say I learned a lot about the interviewing process when I was in high school. Actually, I would say they did their thing with preparing us for stuff like that. They prepared us to work, but they ain't tell us about nothing else. So basically, I was told to wear don't wear open-toed shoes. Make sure you primarily wear flats, slacks, or if you wear a skirt, make sure it's not too tight. I would also say, I feel like the key to getting the job is to charm the interview. Is it the interviewer? It's to charm the interviewer. Like when I tell you, I have done that so many times, and I felt like I wasn't qualified enough for the job. And we got to talking. I got that offer. Best believe they was like, "OMG, I'm so happy talking." They definitely like me. And then I would also say, you have to change your resume up for your specific job. For instance, I have 3 resumes. If I want to go somewhere like stocking, I don't really want to talk to people, I use, my Walmart, Target, stuff like that. If I want something in the call center, I would use my call center experience because they're going to be like, well, do you have any experience with talking to people, customer service? And if I put in the resume for mainly stocking, they're going to be like, are you really qualified for this? So I think you should definitely have more than one resume that will help you out in the long run so you don't have to keep changing it.
So basically, you're saying tailor your resume to the specific job.
Yes, because they have an actual filter.
I think that's a good tip.
Whenever you put your resume in places, if certain words are in your resume, it won't get picked.
Mm-hmm. So for example,
if you're going for a finance or accounting job, make sure in your job descriptions you actually have words regarding what that job is doing. Because otherwise, if it has nothing regarding accounting or financing, the automatic system, I don't even think they manually pull resumes anymore. Like the automated system is not going to pull your resume. That's why you never get jobs like that. So you have to make sure you switch up your resume for certain jobs.
So do you think it's not beneficial? Because I've never, switched mine up. Like I submit the same one for everybody. So do you think it's not beneficial?
Do you apply for the same type of jobs though?
No, but it'd be different ones. Because I feel like, you just seeing everything that I've done.
Yeah, but they don't need to know all that. I'm just telling y'all the truth. Sometimes you can't be as truthful because for one, they're not going to check anything. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to check it. So it's kind of like they do us wrong. So it's kind of like, why can't I bend the rules to get this job? So I'm just trying to help y'all out. This is what has helped me. And it's kind of like I think it's, what is it called? It's like the way to life, it's the game. You got to play it if you want to get it. And I have gotten good jobs doing that. So,
I mean, and what she's talking about, I've read about it too. So it's like whatever you're applying for, make sure whatever they have in their job description, your experience in your resume includes some of the keywords from what they put in there. So depending on what you're applying for, your resume may not have those specific words, although you have done it. It just may not have those specific words. So from what I've read, it's best to go back and put in certain keywords to make sure that is able, whenever they are looking for applications or looking for applicants, that yours pop up because they'll be able to see it. That's what I read. And so that's what I do. And that's what I've been doing. Since I
would say make sure it's not too long either. Don't have paragraphs on your resume and make sure it's one page. Unless you have like a lot of experience, then obviously you may have more than one page, but they're not gonna read it. I'm telling you, they're not gonna read it. Make sure it's short and to the point as possible.
And concise, right. Make sure it's concise. So I would say a tip, and this is generic, but it's true. Be super confident, not cocky, but confident in your skills and being able to talk about your specific skills. I will say one of my first jobs out of school, I actually felt like I did really bad in the interview, but I got the job. And after I got the job, like after having the job for like a year, I stayed there for a good while, but a couple of the ladies was like, they told me the reason why we hired you is because you said you wanted the director's job in her face, which was like, whoa. So they said that's what got me the job.
Was that what you was applying for, or?
Well, so it was in the marketing department, and it was, of course, an entry-level marketing job, but I interviewed with a panel of probably like 6 or 7 people, and the director was one of them who I ended up working directly under. And so, they were like, well, what do you hope to do ultimately? And I said, well, I want your job. I want the director's job.
Oh, wow. What did she say?
In the moment, like I said, I actually thought I did very badly in the interview. But like I said, a year or so later, we were just talking because I was then part of the team. And they were like, that's why you got the job. Because you were super confident.
I would say, like Melissa, I think Melissa Crystal one was saying, the way you dress matters. We've had people that come in with see-through shirts on. They'll have a hat on. They be super relaxed. We had one person to come in, and like as soon as she sat down, I don't know if y'all can see me, but she laid back in the chair. Yeah. And she was just like comfortable, like she was just sitting on the porch, just chilling. And so people start watching you from the moment that they come down and take you on the elevator, and then you're still waiting. And a helpful tip that I read was that you never know who is watching you. So treat everyone like they're interviewing you. Mm-hmm. So the people that you're watching, because that could be your boss or that could be somebody that can make a decision. They may not be in on the actual interview panel, but you just have to, everybody is watching and may give your opinion, because we may step out and say, hey, what did you think of this person? And so just be careful with that and actually read up on the job. A lot of times they ask you, what do you know about this job? Don't just say, oh, well, I just applied for it. Like, to me, it'll be helpful if you can tell me what you know. And I'm impressed because you can show me, okay, well, you already learned, you haven't even gotten this job. So I think that's helpful. And then just know how to answer the interview questions. A lot of times, like Melissa said, they're not really reading the resume, because as soon as I work for the state. And so on the question sheet, the first question is, tell me about yourself. And then it asking you pretty much the questions that's already on your resume. So even though we have your resume, not like we, because we want you to tell us again the same thing that's already on it. And it's just when you telling us about yourself, is mine freezing?
A little bit.
It's not for me.
It is a little bit for me.
It was a note popped up that said my internet was slow. What about now?
Yeah, it's fine.
I hear you now.
Okay. Also, you want to know how you're answering the interview questions. When I ask you, tell me about yourself, I don't want to know that you have kids, you have a pet fish, tell me how you can be more beneficial. What skills do you have to offer for the job that you're applying for? And if, you don't prepare, like, don't just think, okay, I'm just going to wing it or whatever. Sometimes, depending on the question panel, and like Takara said, she had one with 6. I had one, I don't know if it was 6 or 9. It was a Zoom, and it was so many people, and they were just asking me questions like back to back. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, I don't even remember what I put on the resume. And then y'all asking me all these questions. You don't answer it, they're going to reword it but they're asking you the same question because they're looking for certain answers. So if you prepare and you kind of go over it, if you got to call your friend or whoever just to kind of see like, hey, listen to me or ask me something, just to kind of get your nerves out. I think that help as well.
Just to bounce off. Oh.
No, go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, just to bounce off what Shanita said, knowing like you have to have an answer to every interview question. Like you said, you need to practice. Like you need to know it like the back of your hand, especially like what will be your challenges or what's your biggest weakness. That one, if you don't answer that one right, that's what I'm saying. Like that could make it or break it.
So to answer that, right, you're not really telling them what your biggest weakness is. You're putting a positive in a way that kind of like, for example, I used to always answer the question, well, I expect the same amount of commitment that I give, from my coworkers. That's not really
when I say, and my mom actually helped me out with this one. When I say that I love helping people and like I have to fall back and let people learn to do it themselves. That's when I say
a good
that
one.
That's it.
Yeah. And on top of that, I say Google. Like use Google. Google is your best friend. Google what type of interview questions do they ask for a teacher? Do they ask for Walmart a cashier? Like whatever you're applying for, Google is going to have some answers. I mean questions. Then on top of that, Google the answer to the specific question. So Google the questions, Google the position first, what questions, and then Google the answers, and then write it 5 times, whatever you got to do. Reword it in your own words. And then, like they were saying, practice, like get your friend to practice, get your neighbor to practice. And also, honestly, if you're at a job and you're applying for a different position within the company, your manager may even, depending on how cool y'all are or how cool your manager is, your manager may help you, go over some questions too. So utilize the people that are there and Google. And like what Takara said and Melissa was saying, interviewers, they don't really want to know your truth. They want to know what you think that they want you to hear. So if they say, what would you do in this situation if a customer comes and they're not happy? Like your real answer may be, oh, I would, tell them to go to another store. That may be the truth, but they don't want to hear that. Don't tell them that. What do you think they want you to say? Like that's what interviewing is about. What do you think they want you to say? And remember that. So when Shanita was like, tell me about yourself. No, they really don't want to know what kind of pet you have. They want to know how you're going to be beneficial to them.
And going off what my mom just said, scenarios. So like basically the question that she just asked, make sure you have a scenario down packed. Like I said, you need to be able to say it in your sleep. Because it's kind of like, when I tell you that has saved me so many times because I tried to like remember step by step. They be asking, what would you do step by step in this situation? And it's just like, OMG, I can't tell you step by step. That's why when I do it beforehand and memorize it, it's easy like that. And they be like, okay.
Yeah. And it's a difference in being prepared and being confident and being like recorded or robot. It's like nobody wants you to come in and answer it like perfectly, like you're bare man, like you look professional, you sound professional, but you're not giving what it's supposed to give. So you want to, be able to sell your smile. Like, don't be so stiff when you're in an interview as well. You come in and speak, say good morning. I can't tell you how many people walk in, even though you may be intimidated, say good morning, say to me, that kind of breaks the ice as well. And also some things that some people don't think of. I love wearing perfume. I love wearing lotion. You have to be mindful because so many people have allergies and stuff. So you don't want to go in overpowering and then the entire interview they're sneezing or coughing and, can't finish because of the cologne or the perfume that you have going on.
Oh, that's good.
Also, at the end, when they say, do you have anything else? You always have something else. You ask them questions. Do not leave without asking them good questions. Not just, when should I hear back from you? Yeah, that is a question. But good questions like, where do you see this person in this position in 5 years and 3 months? Or what specifically are you looking for in a candidate for this job? You can Google that too.
Yeah.
So
Whatever.
one question I always ask at the end of an interview is, how would you rate success for this person in this position? Meaning, like, what would they do to be considered successful in this job?
Yep.
Then I have even asked, like, how would I be trained? You know, because sometimes you don't know. Some people may have to be trained for 8 weeks. Some may be a week, but you want to be prepared for all of that as well, because you don't want to get the job and then all these excuses that you have to give. And they like, you know, I thought you was ready for this job.
Well, I have another tip. If you're applying for something internal, try talking directly to the manager that you're going to be working for. So before you apply, go and introduce yourself, you know, let them know where you're at, who your manager is, and let them know you're interested in the position. Because building that relationship will probably get you a little further. It would even make sure that the recruiter, you know, looks out for your name because you have already talked to the manager. Also, if there is an option to do like a side-by-side where you can go and sit with someone currently in that position and see what they do like every day, build a relationship with that employee while you're sitting there. That will also put your name out there. It'll let you know what to talk about in the interview from what you've seen.
So to piggyback off what Crystal said, kind of, also, if you are doing a job, you're applying for a job internal and you're going from one department to the next, make sure you communicate with your current boss that you have intentions on pursuing another position, because a lot of times, you know, when it's internal like that, the managers will talk to each other.
Yep, 100%. So those are my main tips for interview. And when it's also someone internal, I'm more direct and honest. Like I've asked and I've said, so what specifically are you looking for with this person? Like, are you looking, well, this particular manager already had someone working in that position, but they were kind of like a temp. And so I asked her, I said, are you looking to hire the person that's already working there? Or are you really going to give an opportunity to other people because you already have someone doing it? And so she said, oh no, I'm really, you know, open to having other people in this position, not the person that's working on it. So I was like, okay, like, I feel like that was me being direct and, you know, trying to figure out if I'm wasting my time or not. Went through the process. Long story short, she hired the person that was already working in that position.
Really?
Yeah. So
the question I don't really like. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, even though it's a waste, I still think, you know, it's good to be direct with people in that type of situation. But what you gonna say?
I was just about to say, the question I don't really like is when they ask you, why are you leaving your job? Because I want a better job. Like,
but don't say that.
Right, don't say that. But yeah. But you, like Melissa said, you have to be prepared for all type of questions and have a good comeback, because even if you don't have the answer, just start kind of thinking of something, some type of good comment to be able to kind of start talking until you get an answer out or something.
But the thing is also, it is okay to pause and kind of gather your thoughts at the same time. Like, don't completely stop talking, but right. You know, it's okay to gather your thoughts when there is a question presented to you that does kind of throw you off.
Yep. And so for me, with that, what I do is I make a list of like specific examples that they may ask me. So, you know, now it's like, name a time when you did this and that. So just go through your past jobs, anything that actually stood out at any point, just make a list and like put it in your head. And whatever question they ask you, if you're able to take any one of those situations and twist it to make it fit with the question, then that's what you do. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be one specific answer for one specific question. Take whatever you have memorized, you know, practice, and make it fit with whatever they're asking you.
And regarding clothing, I would say make sure not to wear something really loud, like neutral colors, not any big purses. And if you do have to bring something, like I would say put in something like a little folder or something, so it just won't look like you have so much stuff going on when you go in there.
Also, while you were saying that, it made me think, also bring something to write with, or, you know, I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate now, but most people have, you know, like a little tablet or something that they can take notes on, or even just simple basic notepad and a pencil. A portfolio is really more professional though.
Yep. And one more thing with the interview, well, with the resume. So if you haven't had that many jobs, and your past jobs do not reflect the current job that you're applying for, this is just my opinion. I say keep it on there, because it's better than having like, you know, a small resume. Like a page is fine, but if you don't have one job on there, even if you explain it, I think the only way to explain that would be like if you were a stay-at-home mom, if you were like a college or a high school kid. I don't know how an adult, outside of you taking care of your family or a loved one or being over somewhere where you've been taken care of, I don't know how you would explain that. So I say just put your past job experiences on there. Just kind of only put short descriptions by those and focus more on the one that's relevant.
But you can also get creative, right? Because so many things, you know, that we do on our jobs that we don't even consider, you know, you can find a way to make your situation work for whatever you're applying for.
Right. Just like even if you're fresh out of college and you don't have any work experience, put your internships. Most degrees require you to do some type of internship. Put that and put your skills, like you good at Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, like all of those. Put that on there. Have something to present. And some people like cover letters. Even if you don't do your references, just put, you know, references available upon request. And another thing, please be on time. We've had so many people that if they wasn't on time, they was late, or they just didn't show up at all. You know when the opportunity arises, and you may want to reapply. So even if you change your mind, as a courtesy, go ahead and call them and say, hey, you know, something came up, or I thank you for the opportunity, but, you know, I'm no longer going to be able to, because we will sit there and wait on the people, and they won't show up, or they'll be late, and then you come in, even if you told the person that brought you up, like, you didn't give us no as to why you was late. You just come in, and then you seem tired and, you know, rushed, so your mindset is kind of off. So be on time, please.
Yep, I 100% agree. Also on my resume, I have volunteer events. So what I did was my volunteer was actually related to, you know, financial something. So it actually fit. And if you don't have a volunteer experience that fit, then do volunteering now. Like, it's never too late. You can still do it on the weekends or after work or whatever, just so you can have something on your resume. Volunteering could be you helping out your friend or your cousin, and just word it, you know, wisely with whatever it is that you're doing. So get creative. Yeah, resumes, you have to get creative.
And always have somebody proofread it. Always. Maybe more than one person proofread it, especially if you're doing a cover letter. You know, make sure you have someone proofread it.
Yeah. And if you don't know how to even start, if you have Microsoft Word, they have on there like options where
templates.
They can give you a sample. Yeah. And you can just plug in your information. So it's
and again, Google, like
Google
said, yeah. I mean, I have looked on Google many times to figure out how to reword something, or use like the thesaurus in Google. You know, Google the thesaurus and then put it in your Word, and it'll give you maybe a more fancier word.
And also, if you look, because I have did that, look back at your job descriptions, like they list your duties, so you can kind of use some of that as well to help you with your resume.
Exactly.
Yep.
Did I have anything else?
I think we gave them a lot of good stuff. If anything else, you should know to Google and say what you think they want to hear. Those are the main two things you should take.
Okay, so this month, as you know, is February. It's Black History Month. So to honor our history, we want to take this time and honor Mr. Gordon Parks. He was born 1912 to 2006. And this is just one of the better pictures of him. You can also Google and find out pictures of him. But Mr. Parks was the first African-American on the staff of Life magazine. And later he will be responsible for some of the most beautiful imagery in the pages of Vogue. He also was the first Black director of a major film called Shaft, helping to shape Black exploitation era in the 70s. Parks was also famously told Life in 1999, "I saw that the camera could be a weapon against poverty, against racism, against all sorts of social wrongs. I knew at that point I'd have a camera." So just like Mr. Parks, if he would have given up because maybe the interview questions was too tough or anything like that, he wouldn't be, one of the ones that we're honoring today. So I always think about, someone, you could be the first to do, whatever. So just because you're thinking, well, nobody looks like me is in that type of position, well, you can be the next Gordon Parks. So Mr. Parks, we honor you and we thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Hey, y'all, so now we're moving on to the letter. So it says, "Hey, ladies, quick question. How long do you date someone before you introduce them to your kids?" I saw some faces. What's going on?
I don't know. That's a hard one.
Yeah, because I think it depends on the child age. You don't want the child to get too attached to the person. Even if we've been dating for a while, I've always been kind of hesitant to do that, just because I think it's just kind of like, it's just scary, because even if you may not know a real true person intention until way down the line, so you don't want to let this person into your life, then you find out they're a pedophile. So,
oh my God.
Right. So that was, plus I feel like I just heard a lot of things like that. So even if we've been dating for 6 months, depending on, I still may not let this person meet my child. It just depends on how old the child is and how I feel about the person. Have I it's hard to say. I don't have an answer for that, honestly. I honestly say, just it depends on you and what you think is best for you, because everything is going to be different. Just don't let it be after 2 dates or after 1 month or anything like that. Let it be a while before that happens, because you don't want the child to get attached to someone that may not be in the picture long. I have a good answer. Maybe if you feel like this is someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with, that's when you should introduce them.
You can't say nothing like that, Mama, because people think they were every relationship.
No. Oh,
some people think that about every relationship.
Oh, okay.
So I'm kind of the same. I don't have a definitive answer. For me, like when my daughter was younger and couldn't talk, no one could come around her, for sure, until she could tell me, until she could communicate with me however she felt about a situation, a person, or a thing. But I would say, again, 6 months maybe, but I listen to true crime podcasts, so probably never.
You're gonna be dating for a year and a half, and they still never met.
I mean, there are even if they I've talked to for a long time and they've never met her.
So did they buy her gifts? Because I hear people like, "Oh, let me buy your child gifts." So even if they don't meet them, would you still allow them to buy your child a gift?
Probably not.
Plus, I don't know if males do that. I think that's more of a female thing. I can see
it is more of a female thing.
It depends. Some, like they might buy them snacks or food or whatever, which, I hear too, so it's kind of like, why? I can get that for them. So, but they do.
And I would also say, y'all should take into consideration that kids is going to tell you the truth like, I'm not gonna say every time, you know how kids are, but when they don't like somebody and they see like the bad in people, they gonna let you know. And I feel like a lot of times parents are like, this, you know, I'm not studying you, but they will tell you when somebody is not good though. That's why I'm like, that's really kind of why you should take them in consideration on, you know, how long it takes to meet them, because they'll tell you now.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't have a solid answer. I guess it's just like Crystal said, when you are seriously serious about this person, that's when they deserve to meet your child. And even then, there are still some boundaries that exist.
Yep, I agree. So, I mean, for that, I would say trust your instincts, maybe talk to people who you care about the most and who care about you and your child. And, you know, let him meet your friends and loved ones first before, you know, you go to your kid and see what they say. And then as a collective, that's my advice. As a collective, if they're okay with it, then, you know, do it slowly and see what happens at that point with no time frame. Yeah, but that's going to be it for today's show. We've talked about interviewing tips. We've talked about resume tips. We did a Black History Spotlight with Gordon Parks, and we gave somewhat of some type of advice to one of our viewers. And, you know, that's going to be it for us today. And thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for next time. You can always hit us up on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Also, we're on TikTok. So The Melanated Opinion. You can also email us at themelanatedopinion@gmail.com. And that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and bye.